on the Wine Down.
Welcome to the Wine Down.
We are so excited, and we had such a crazy last few weeks. We actually saw the Oliver Tree show, which was awesome.
We saw the Oliver Tree show. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, they had Supercomputer, and it was like a rave situation, but there was also a crazy age difference that you and I kept
There
laughing
was
about.
a crazy age difference.
nuts.
I don't know when people go to concerts what age group they're expecting to see, but
4 or 5 was not an age group.
there was
I
easily a
expected.
2 or 3 walking around.
And they were into it.
They were very into it. They were singing lots of words.
You were offended.
I was slightly offended to see young kids cursing words.
I'm all about freedom, so I was like, this is the right place to do it.
This is the right place to do it, sure. So it was a very freeing place where young kids could sing hip-hop music.
It was nice.
Very nice. For the kids.
For the kids. We do it for the kids. We do this show for the kids. Also, we wanted to give a big shout out to Diana Brewster and to Vin Avena. Thank you so much for watching the show and for sharing it. You guys are awesome, and for putting wine in a shoe. We did see that, so keep it up. Speaking of
wine in a shoe, we were putting cans of wine in shoes last time, correct?
We were.
We figured we'd step things up a notch and
Just a
show you
little
what
bit.
else you can drink in cans.
Yeah.
And all of these cans are brought to us by Sip and Say Craft Wine and Spirits in Merrick. I know it's hard to see here, but somewhere on here there's an engraved bottle for Valentine's Day. Great gift to give any one of your loved ones is alcohol and hearts.
Honestly, there's nothing I want more than alcohol, especially on a fake holiday.
Absolutely, the fake real holiday where everyone just wants to drink.
All the women showing off their leased cars that their husbands got for them with like the big bow. It's like, if it's not paid off, it's not a gift.
That doesn't happen on Christmas.
It
That's a
happens all the
Valentine's
time.
Day thing.
Sometimes. It's like, yeah.
Isn't this I just give you roses, here's a box of chocolates, and we call it a day?
I don't believe in things like this, so I don't actually celebrate Valentine's Day, except with my daughter. You know, she'll get like a little something, but like, you know, me and my husband, we're libs. We don't believe in this shit. But we do believe in canned cocktails.
Canned cocktails, and you can still put them in your shoe. They will give you the pep in your step that you need to conquer your day.
And this is actually my favorite.
Espresso.
Martini.
That sounds fancy.
Doesn't it? I'm sorry, I know you usually crack and pour.
That's
I
okay,
couldn't help
crack
myself.
and pour.
Couldn't help myself.
Who doesn't need a drink right now? I'll take a little bit,
Just a
sure.
little
Just that's too much espresso. And to drinking on the Wine Down. Here, you can have my coffee. That'll keep me up all night.
Great. My 4-year-old's going to love that shit. Excellent. So this is actually a really great drink, and what I would recommend is you just pop it and drink it if you want to. It's great for the beach, but I always like to have it over ice, so it's like super cold.
Super cold is a good thing. Plus, the ice brings out the flavors.
Explain that.
Actually, all the drinks. Ice just opens up and allows your drink to live a little bit more lively, thanks to some carbonation.
I thought that it
and some
waters
ice.
down your drink, and that's why I like special cubes for bourbon and blah, 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 blah.
It helps to bring out the flavor. There's a chemical reaction that happens that we would have to ask a scientist about, or a chemistry person.
Surprisingly, I don't have any scientists
We
on
do
hand.
not have any scientists on hand. Just good old drinking.
Delicious.
10
out of 10. But with any martini, I always like the glass to be super cold. Like, if you're not putting ice in and then chucking the ice, you're not doing a martini right.
That's why you should try some of this delicious old-fashioned.
Don't mind if I do.
Actually, right after the coffee, it's really enough that you're going to do the same.
Let's fucking slow it down.
It's Monday night. Who wants to slow it down?
Ooh.
That's delicious.
80 proof.
80 proof.
Oh, friends.
We're here to have a good time.
Oh, friends. What is an old-fashioned?
This is whiskey, simple syrup, and bitters.
Yeah, this is going to put me on my ass, bro.
Very easy drinking.
Easy drinking?
Easy drinking. On the Wine Down.
Yep, that's easy. So, if you guys are looking for gifts, you can also go to sipsay.com, put a bunch of crap in the cart, And if you use the code TheWineDown, you get 15% off.
And that goes for delicious cans or wonderful engraved bottles of love, even if it's just to yourself, because who doesn't want to get a nice gift?
Yeah, I mean, I love these. I love the engraving. And you also stepped up our cup game.
I did. Well, we were drinking cocktails tonight, so I thought some nice cocktail glasses were a nice change.
This shot straight to my
We'll
head.
bring
This shot straight to my head. Wow. Wow, because you think things in cans, you're like, this cannot be
this good.
This good. This ate like this. Yeah, wow, damn.
These are straight away old fashioned cans.
Get them by the register.
Get them by the register and put that pep in your step.
Oh.
Or the wine in your down.
Oh, boy. The puns, they never stop.
Not when you're drinking like this.
No. Speaking of drinking and having a good time, I also have 2 shows coming up. Bobby, if you want to roll flyer. So the first show, this is actually the first show is Tuesday, February 29th at 8 o'clock. You have to reserve a table. It is at Shore House Bar and Grill. And that's actually a really cool lineup. Rob White is hilarious. Joe Cravella is on his way up. Dan LaRocco, I have to be nice to him. And the rest of the guys are a lot of fun. But for sure, Rob White is hysterical. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then we're actually doing, I believe we're doing this here for the other podcast that I've been a part of here for See You Next Tuesday. And that's an all-female cast. We've got Kathy Arnold, who we call Cash. Kathy Arnold Jr., my husband calls her Cash. You got Emily Santosis, Kristen Tinsley, Mandy Jones, Carla Okeson, and myself. It's a crazy good lineup of just all females being funny. And I would certainly call ahead, or I think it's money at the door, actually. But this place fills up pretty fast, so I would get here. And you also get to meet and greet, which is kind of cool because you don't always get to do that.
Always great to shake a hand or two, give a hug, take a picture.
Yeah. Except for the few times where like I'm on stage and like the drunk ladies like I have a bunch.
Hey,
Have,
take
like,
a picture with me. I'm right here. I'll stand in front.
I have a whole folder of pictures of like being groped by drunk ladies. It's possibly one of my favorite things about comedy.
I hear that's why the young ladies get into it.
So stupid. This goes
here
right
at
to your
the
head.
TheWineDown.
Here at the TheWineDown. Yeah, so you can definitely get these cans from Sipsay. And the engraving, not only does he do bottles, he also does decanters, he does glasses, anything pretty much that is glass and can fit in the machine, right?
That's it.
That's how we do.
We've done some perfume bottles. That's an interesting little touch.
Oh, really? That is
Sure.
cute. I love that.
So anything that fits in there.
Chanel used to like have an artist in the city that used to like hand engrave.
Hand engrave. Very sexy.
In my former life. But yes, what wines would you recommend for Valentine's Day? What do you have in stock?
Lots of nice hearty reds or clean, crisp Sauvignon Blancs and Pinot Grigios. Ask her now, so when you get it, when you rush in on Valentine's Day to say, oh my God, I gotta get something for my someone, find out what they like to drink now. It's weird to text them day of.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be that guy that's like last minute. That's for sure.
Or the girl last minute, what do you drink again, honey? I don't know. It comes out of a bottle and it's brown.
Oh, it's bourbon.
It could be.
Could be bourbon.
Could be tequila.
Could be tequila. You never know. So yeah, definitely get that out of the way. Visit sipsay.com. Free delivery locally. There's a little bit of a delivery fee into Suffolk and parts of Queens. And he also ships nationwide.
Slow down.
Whoa. So yeah, what is this other... Keep it rolling.
Oh, yes, let's keep it rolling. So, my absolute favorite canned cocktail is a French 75. Hard to see here.
What does that mean, French 75?
It's a classy cocktail that you can only get in classy places.
Does that mean like French 1 through 74 didn't work out?
It is a little bit of Prosecco. Give it some lively bubble. Some simple syrup, a little bit of lemon juice, and a little bit of gin with a little bit of a bubble.
Oh, I love that.
It's delicious.
Oh, that's refreshing.
So refreshing.
Ooh. Definitely get this for your wife or significant other.
I've heard gin makes wives
more tolerable
for Valentine's Day.
I think my husband would disagree.
People always have a bad gin story. Never like you assume a bad tequila story. Someone has a bad gin story.
Not
I don't know
new.
what gin did to them when they were a child.
I think the worst thing I ever do to my husband is I'll like go upstairs and blast music and try to like dance for music videos, and he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like you're a 36-year-old woman. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Just having the time of my life.
Time of your
Just
life,
having the
as
time
one
of my
should.
life.
Once you put a little canned cocktail in your body, you too can have the
Just go
time
for
of
it.
your life.
Just throwing Missy Elliott on. We can all learn those moves.
Footloosing out in the living room, sliding out there. I think that's where that happened. Just having a grand old time.
Oh, jungle.
Canned
So
cocktails in you.
this is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
This I've
Jungle
gotten before.
Lee.
Yes, tamarind margarita. Very
Exotic.
diverse and exotic. Yeah.
Diverse.
Diverse.
Good.
Diverse. Indian craft cocktail.
Urban.
Urban. Oh, I forgot
It's
to.
made here in New York. But
Yeah, yeah. I did my first urban crowd.
you did do your first urban crowd. How did that go?
It went amazing, and I came up with this joke on a fly, and it was so good. It went over so well. Should I tell the joke?
I think
I'm gonna
you
tell
have
the
to.
joke. I set
You
it up.
can't let people.
So I didn't know it was an urban crowd, and my friend Allison Persky called me, and she's like, "Jen, do the show for me. I'm sick. I can't go." So it's in Belmore, so like I didn't know it was an urban crowd. So
What
I
does
show
an
up.
urban crowd mean?
It means mostly African American.
Okay.
So I show up in the green room and notice that, and I'm like, I gotta throw in some. I gotta make new jokes. This has gotta go somewhere. So the joke I came up with was, this is my first time doing an urban crowd. And I was really nervous, but everyone's been super supportive. In fact, Antonio, one of the comedians back there, he got me a spot on an international TV show. He says I'll be fantastic on BBC.
Oh, that's good.
Get it? It's,
British
yeah.
Broadcasting
Oh,
Channel. Is that what the C stands
That's
for?
exactly it. So, yeah, that was a really good time. Tom Longwood, I think, runs that show. It's in Belmore. It's like a speakeasy situation. It's very,
Classy.
I don't know. They gave me a hat, so cheers to that. And they
Free
paid me,
hats.
so everybody's happy. Yeah, everyone's happy. So,
All right.
But yeah.
Very good. Well, this is our tamarind margarita. Little spicy. Little
I have this in my fridge outside. My garage fridge.
garage fridge. Tell me more about that garage fridge.
You want me to talk about the garage fridge or the basement fridge?
Ooh.
We're like part Italian, so you got to have like 6 fridges.
Mm.
You know, whenever someone's getting rid of a fridge, it's like just fucking plug it in somewhere.
Okay. Good to know. Someone collects fridges.
No, you never know. Like you buy meats in bulk.
This is true.
You know?
This is true. Yeah.
You buy meats in bulk?
No.
You're missing out. You are missing out. You get to have a scale. And
I buy
everything.
meats day of.
True, true. I have to be honest that most of my stuff's in deep freeze, and pretty much I've been Uber eating everything.
Forever deep
Yeah,
freeze. Like,
everything's in deep
oh, that's
freeze.
gonna be too much freeze.
Well, you know about my barbecue story, right?
No.
Oh my god. So 3 years ago, we bought the house, and I brought the barbecue, and I was outside having the most like amazing Snow White moment, and like the trees in the back had all this like white flowers falling, and I was basically doing circles in my yard, and then these cute like mice were out there. So I like take a picture. I'm like, look how cute these are. So I sent them to my dad, and he's like, those are rats. So I'm like, holy shit, I can't have rats like in my yard. This is scary.
Sure.
So I call an exterminator, and I'm pretty sure there's like dead rats inside my barbecue. So I'm afraid to open it. So I haven't opened it in 3 years.
Really? And you still have this
I still have the barbecue.
barbecue?
Yeah, because it's a Weber and it's really nice. But like I'm afraid to open it. So maybe I can get you on that this year.
Sure.
It's gonna be so scary.
I have a similar story. I live down in Long Beach, and I was sitting outside in my hot tub in the backyard under the stars, just enjoying the stars,
As we often do.
as we often do. And I have a shed with a window broken in it and a tree that's right there, and I watched a family of raccoons step out onto the tree. We caught eyes. I said, I'm not here to bother you. You do you guys. And they slowly went off on their way to go
I thought you were
find
about
dinner.
to say they like went into the jacuzzi.
No,
you guys were
no,
sharing
no,
drinks.
no. That would be hard on the filter.
That would. And your jacuzzi is always very clean.
And very clean.
Very.
So just to watch them go out and escort their little family members out to go eat and feed amongst the night. Taking the trash off the streets or wherever raccoons go to eat, which is probably behind the pizza place behind.
Outside rodents aside, Who would think when you buy a house and stuff, they have all this crap to do? I have like an exterminator. I have like all these people that come and do shit all the time.
I can't believe you didn't check the rats first. I mean, they could have been there before
Well,
you.
I'm close to a school and I'm close to like a commercial area, so they were like blah 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 stuff.
Yeah, check it out. You got these people now. Tell them to come.
No, I haven't seen one since, so it's been good. But
cheers to no more rodents.
Cheers to that. So we have a really, really interesting guest here tonight. And we're kind of flipping the show on its head because this is the Wine Down.
This is the Wine Down. But here we are, we're drinking cocktails. I figured we'd segue a little bit more into the next segment with cocktails.
I got you. I like that.
Because I was a little off-put at first.
I know you didn't
knowing that we were taking things away from the Wine Down on the Wine Down. But tell us what adventure we are going to take today, myself included, for the show. Where are we headed?
Today we are headed to a YouTuber who has a YouTube account. You can find him at the End of the Day Beer. Right?
End of the Day Beer Review.
End of the Day Beer Review. And there might be some sixes in there. We'll go over it. Yeah. But you can just Google that or put that into YouTube. I also like to write Rich after it, and it'll pull right up. And he has tons of videos, mostly stouts, but where he goes through beers and like really reviews them, like not like us where we just like kind of get drunk even though you're a sommelier.
I'm gonna keep drinking cocktails here. I heard beer.
And you don't like beer.
I am not a beer fan.
So what are we even doing here?
We're drinking cocktails.
I guess. But I'm really excited about it because I'm not a huge beer person. In fact, I like amber ales, which are like very hard to come by.
I've only met one amber, so very hard to come by.
Very hard to come by. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this rocking and rolling, and we'll bring Rich right up.
Let's talk about the nose. You know, Augusto, I've said it time and again, they put out fantastic beers, and this is no exception from the nose, at least so far. I'm getting the coffee, I'm getting the roastiness there, and I'm very fond of out there coffee, so, you know, like there's a particular smell to that coffee shop, and it's hinted at here, which is really nice. There's the roastiness with the stout that's there. There's that nice coffee aroma. I'm getting just a hint of vanilla and this other aroma that I associate with sweetness, which I'm assuming is going to be the maple, but we'll have to see when we actually get down to the tasting of it. Anything else in there? It smells great. I mean, I have to tell you, it smells great. It smells like a really, really well-developed breakfast stout. You know, with the coffee is really sort of forward in the nose, with again that sweetness sort of on the back end. But you know what, most important, let's see how it tastes. Okay, there's a viscousness to this that I was not expecting, that I like. This coats the mouth. And what you get on the front end is that sort of roasty stout flavor, followed by the coffee. And on the back end, it's really complex. You get a little bit of the vanilla and some of that sweetness that I associate with maple syrup. And you know, it's funny, the front of the can has Darth Vader eating pancakes. They nailed it. They nailed it. This is coffee and pancakes in a can. It's not overwhelmingly sweet, not at all. But that sweetness is hinted on the back of the tongue, and it's a nice touch. It breaks up that sort of coffee roast flavor at the front end, and on the back end you get that little bit of sweetness that really just draws you in for another sip, I have to be honest. You know, I have to say, I think, and it's been a while since I've had it. I want to say I think this is better than it was last year, and I thought last year's version of this was amazing. This is more complex. The coffee is more forward. The sweetness on the back end does wonders, sort of like make those flavors explode on your tongue. This is phenomenal. My one regret is that I should have bought more. I only bought 12 cans. This is fantastic. For me, you know, it would have been hard for Gusto to go wrong with this one because they're putting together everything I like. There is that roastiness of the stout. There's one of my, actually, I'll be honest, there's my all-time favorite coffee. And this is phenomenal.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. And joining us is Rich Perry.
Hello.
Welcome, Rich.
So, Rich, what was your YouTube channel called? I know I butchered it.
Okay, it's end of the day beer review. There are numbers at the end of it, but that's something that YouTube tagged on there. So, you know, if you just put in end of the day beer review, it'll come up.
And how many reviews do you have up?
As of tomorrow, it'll be 167.
Wow. And doing anything big for the 200th?
Drinking
you know,
more beer.
I have a couple of aged beers that I'm going to wind up doing. So I've been trying to mix that. I have one in particular that I've been waiting to try. It's also a Bourbon County Stout, and it's about 3 years old, and it should be epic.
What is the difference between aged beer and skunked beer?
Okay, so if you look at, that's actually a really good question. So generally speaking, if you're looking at a canned beer, that's not going to last a long time. So,
Okay.
you know, like you'll get a year out of it, maybe two I've gotten. With the aged beers, these particular Bourbon Counties and a lot of the barrel aged beers where they put the beer in a whiskey barrel and let it sit, like this beer was aged for a year during process. And now for 5 years, it will actually develop and change in the bottle as it continues on. It'll mellow. Sometimes the flavors, unfortunately, will fall off, but most of the time, you actually get a very different experience than the first time that you had that beer. And normally, it actually gets better. You know, like this is the 2023 Bourbon County, and this is a little bit boozy. Give it a year and a half, and this will be sublime. This one is actually 2021, and I think it's hitting just perfection right now, and it's
So it is like
fantastic.
wine.
Yeah, in a way, I guess I've just never found a wine that I really cared for. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So,
I've never
you know.
found a beer that I've cared for.
So
Wow.
I've tried. I have tried.
It's like,
I too have tried, so we're gonna try again tonight because I have an open mind and I like to drink.
I love that. I love that about us, the open mind. That's always good. So, is there a preference to bottled or canned beer? Because I always felt like bottled beer was far superior.
I think that the bottled beer tends to be better, and if you're gonna keep it longer, you should also dip it into wax to sort of seal the top as well.
Like Maker's Mark?
Yeah, I do not do that, although I do know some of the
Fancy.
serious
Very
beer
fancy.
YouTubers do. But it sort of seals everything in and
What
guarantees
about beer
it.
fans that are not on YouTube?
I
do that too?
I have yet to go to somebody's house who's a real
To see
beer fan.
that.
Yeah, and they whip out a bottle that has been.
This is
dipped in
my
wax.
melting pot.
Yes.
This is my
Mhm.
wax. It's always going. You never know when I need to seal a bottle
It's true.
Or do your mustache.
or do your mustache.
Always have that melting wax out.
Okay.
All right, fantastic. If you want to crack into something and show us how you do your thing, because he's actually very methodical. My gosh, I can't speak. And it's really interesting to watch. He'll do one beer for about like 45 minutes.
Well, I don't go that long. I stay at 10 because I know that nobody watches after about
I
5 or
watched
6
it.
minutes.
I watched all of it.
Although when we do comparisons
You
of
had me at
multiples,
2.
but when we do comparisons of multiples, then they can go. Like we did a tasting of 6 years of Bourbon County last December, and it was a 3-hour session that was edited down to 45 minutes, but it was fantastic.
Oh, well.
So fantastic
This
experience.
is a live
So-
show, so
I
we'll
should
try
film
to.
myself drinking more.
By
Wonder
all
if it would be
means.
longer
Yeah.
or shorter there. I feel like it might be longer.
I would just have to edit out the crying.
So I don't know what you guys want to try because I have.
You spoke this up so much.
I-
You said something about Sublime.
This is, I think, one of. So Bourbon County every year comes out and drops their beers on Black Friday. It's a race to get what you can get. They actually put out a regular stout, which is this one, and then they put out variants where they alter it and do different things. This is their cola stout. It is supposed to mimic Coca-Cola,
Oh,
but it's mimicking Coca-Cola at 14% ABV,
Jesus Christ.
which is pretty heavy for a beer. and it's got a really
Don't listen,
nice.
guys.
It has a
Low ABV.
well, I mean, if you're going to talk about, like a whiskey, then yes, this is very low.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about a beer, I think the highest I've ever had beer-wise is 22%. And that was done by Nightmare Brewing, which is on Long Island. And they do a stout that's 22% ABV, and you can't taste the alcohol.
I'm still having bad dreams about that one.
About
No.
Oh, wow, okay.
He did that.
Yeah,
That
okay.
happened.
So let's start.
Dad joke and beer.
That's definitely a dad joke.
Yikes.
I think this is the best of what's up here as far as complexity. This one, if you are not really into beer, you might actually like this. It's a sour, sort of just a nice fruity sort of sour beer. This is actually a coffee mild. So if you like coffee, that's really nice. Low ABV. These two are sort of beasts. This is 14 or 15%. This is 14.6%.
So you really have to watch yourself when you're drinking these.
And what's even
I like
worse,
to use the mirror. That way I can just watch myself.
Oh my gosh.
you
Oh.
wow.
Really?
Wow, I didn't even see that.
Oh
Okay.
man, you guys don't
yeah,
drink enough.
Wow.
No.
But this one, I don't think you can taste the alcohol in it anymore, which is really
So it'll
dangerous.
taste like cola.
It will. First, when you smell it, you're going to get that smell of cola in the back, right where you're about to swallow. You will wind up getting that sort of Coca-Cola flavor, in your sinuses, really. And you'll get a layer of the bourbon because it has been aged in the bourbon barrel, and then their stout, which I would love to try outside the bourbon barrel. They don't offer it. Is there? It's just, to me, this is epic. It's probably one of their 4 best beers that they've ever made.
Wow. So when you're tasting a beer, and you can see this on his channel, I see you always, you look at the head, you measure the head, then you do a nose. So what I'd like to do is, if you would entertain me, all of us have a little taste and write down what we think the nose is, and kind of go through this together. You kind of teaching us how to taste a beer, because typically I just down a beer. I used to get those Bud Light Platinums because they were like high ABV, but always a fight. I don't know what they put in that beer.
Now,
but,
do we swirl beer? I'm used to the wine down.
I think we shake beer. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, I hate to say this, but your glasses are a little tainted at
Terrible.
this point.
That's all right.
But this beer in particular should overcome it.
We're here for
it.
the lesson.
So we'll start with the Bourbon County Cola Stout, which normally what I do is I'll do the pour, check how it clings to the glass. I know you're a big fan of the word viscous, and I use that when talking more about Equilibrium, which is a New York State brewery that makes these phenomenal pastry stouts. But you also have to drive 2.5 hours to get there. And
it's more of a breakfast beer, I'd imagine.
We were talking about that. What's a good breakfast beer? Let's tell people how to start their day.
I don't start my day with a beer. I'm sorry. I get up super early.
And we thought we had a professional.
Sorry.
We thought this was a professional.
Cold pizza and...
A cold pizza and...
beer.
Honestly,
I thought
if
that was
I was
always
gonna...
the...
my go-to when I'm looking for something I can drink quickly is a Guinness.
True, same.
So,
same.
although, Guinness...
Or lovely canned cocktails.
Lovely canned cocktails.
I have to say, I am intrigued by the idea of the old-fashioned in a can, because I'm a big old-fashioned person.
I'm going to send you home with them. How about that?
I do not make it with simple syrup. I make it with a slightly different syrup. So, I'll do the pour first, and you'll notice that it is thick, but not... And I am notorious for pouring a little too heavy for people when they're doing tastings. See how it clings to the glass. Normally that's with a high ABV beer, the legs that it's, sort of clinging to that glass. And you'll notice not a lot of head, especially the higher the alcohol content. It seems like the carbonation is just not as prevalent. When we open these, much more carbonation on top. I think Goose Island has enough carbonation to sort of open up the flavor, but that's just my opinion on this.
Sure. It's a good thing we brought Rich this fine glass here.
Otherwise,
we would have been passing the bottle back and forth.
I was actually going to bring glassware.
He did ask me about it.
I wasn't sure.
I was like, we're professionals.
We got you. We got you. This is a drinking show.
Hold on.
We've got your glass.
So, take a deep breath.
Like in the glass or before?
Yeah, I would just jam it.
Nice.
Okay. I'm gonna write down what I think it is.
Get like a miso kind of smell, like
What?
Yeah, I don't know what
Not-
you're
not
smelling.
even Maybe like a
Like
like a
salt.
fine Japanese sauce.
Yeah, I'm not
when you're
getting that
out
at
at hibachi.
Although I have a 1995 bottle of Samuel Adams.
Smell
that is
this. Maybe
supposed
it's listen. Maybe I'm just the,
The
sommelier in the room
to-
here.
I'm getting the cocktails more than the beer.
That's delightful.
Okay, so what I came up with, and you can tell me if this is right or wrong. I thought it smelled like, and this might be where you're coming up with miso soup, like salted caramel
Smell this.
and vanilla. What am I so wrong?
Smell this. Think sushi. Think
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
unami.
Yeah.
The vanilla I get. For me, I'm also getting coriander, which is I think what they're really going for as far as what's okay. You made a face. Why?
It's
That's
very,
her. That's her white girl beer face.
It's very forward. It's
Is
like
that it?
it's
Yeah.
very syrupy and very like
It's viscous.
It's viscous. It is, and I can tell what they're doing with the soda. I could taste the Coca-Cola, like as if you were to boil down a Coke.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Like that's fine, and
I'm
like
gonna take a sip here.
not to crap all over your parade, but if this is epic, I'm fucked.
I don't get the Coke part.
There's also like a good amount of like weird sediment in this.
I'm also thinking that might be. Well, you will get that occasionally from some of the beers,
dust,
It's
Jen.
like
That's
coffee.
dust in
but
the
I think it's
glass.
also from the glass.
To me, it's like Coca-Cola coffee. Once you get past the first sip, you're much better with it. So what am I doing within my mouth though? Because I pay attention. I see you moving the bottom, like the bottom lip back and forth. What are you doing when you're?
I'm
tasting?
trying to swirl it around as much as possible because I like to get the carbonation to sort of release some of the flavor. So for me, all of the flavor that I get out of the beer, I sort of think of my tongue as sort of like multifaceted as far as layers of flavor go. Like I get the Coke on the back of the tongue, I get the bourbon on the front.
Yeah.
There's sort of an interesting chocolate that's mixed in with a lot of these. I'm not getting so much the vanilla, but the other thing is, I'm also waiting to see am I going to be overwhelmed by the taste of alcohol. So because that's where you're gonna get the boozy sort of over the top alcohol flavor to it.
See, Jen, I see you. I don't want to say gagging, but I think this is your way of your body getting that layer of flavors to different parts of your taste buds.
That's what it is.
So that you can really experience all that this beverage has to offer.
And this is in no way like a hobo's delight. Like this is a very good beer. So this wasn't this a beer that's like $50?
I would not disbar hobos right away. They would probably enjoy this as well.
You know what?
This
we share.
retails for $24.99. So
Per bottle.
Yeah, per bottle.
Okay, like
So
once
Do
you
they
get
give you case discounts?
yes, but never on the variants. The variants are. It's hard enough to get these.
Okay.
I mean, you're in some
Mailing
cases.
list, or you just got to show
No,
up
no,
on
you've gotta
time on the
show
right
up and
day.
we're
Oh.
very lucky on Long Island is that we get a good amount of distribution of this here.
Yeah.
If you're upstate New York, you're because I watch some of the other YouTubers who do it. They're searching for this.
Really?
And like I'll buy multiple so I can age it and see what it's going to be like. Whereas like people are lucky to get one.
You should start bootlegging.
So,
Black market.
Just send it
Wink,
over.
wink.
there's actually a secondary market for these beers, Jen. Like a serious
I bet there
secondary.
I can
market.
imagine there is. Yeah.
So that goes way up. $200-$300 a bottle.
Anything with
Yeah,
bourbon
wow.
on it, people are obsessed
Wow.
with.
I am just so sorry that you wasted this on me. Because
This was not wasted.
it's not my bag. It's
This
not
is.
my bag.
I want to make it clear. This is an acquired taste. I
do like stouts though. I do like would it be a stout? Like what is Boddington? What is that?
Boddington
It's
is
got, like,
not a stout.
you know.
Sit down.
What do you
So-
want? Oh, thank you, sweetheart.
You said, what do you want?
I
And
love
should-
you.
Oh.
You should
That's
try
Bobby.
it.
That's
You
Bobby.
should really
coming.
try it.
He was probably was gonna do.
That's all I hope he does.
Yeah.
So,
Bobby doesn't say no to alcohol.
Where's
We
the
love
dump
Bobby.
bucket? I just want to
So,
throw it behind.
that's so sad. But,
That
you know,
is
I
so
mean-
upsetting. And you know what? And that bottle's even more expensive, isn't it?
no. This is actually the most expensive
Oh,
one that
why
I
did
brought
we
tonight.
do that? We should have
So-
Because
started
we
with
start
that
with
one.
the best, Jen. We're bougie, and that's how we take
We
it.
are very
Well,
bougie.
this is the thing. I am a high ABV. I don't have a lot of it. I will wind up drinking, like, this will take one full night to get through, and that'll be what I drink for the night. but it's it's not.
That's sweet. That's really sweet. That like you
It-
have one beer at home, like
It
by yourself
also
in the
changes
basement.
though as it warms up. It gets more complex.
Little oxidation, little.
I noticed when I did like the swirl and the carbonation went around, it tasted a little different, a little more. Thank you, sweetheart. Hey, guy. Thank you.
Checking out the microphones.
Checking
again.
it out. But yeah, not for me. But I could definitely see if you're a beer aficionado that would be totally your bag.
A beer or a bourbon person tends to like this. The people that on my channel, I've had a couple of guests over. My
Yes.
cousin, my friend, all like we're very into Bourbon County, and it becomes sort of. I don't want to say
Seems like an obsession.
yeah,
say cultish.
Yeah.
yeah. I was
Fine,
going to
it's
say
fine.
cultish. It becomes a little cultish. In that
Everyone
respect.
has their own
So-
cultish
Well, I
thing.
mean, I'll put it to you this way. Right now, I'm building 2 10-year verticals, so I have 2 boxes of these things starting at 2016,
Okay.
and we will not open them until 2026.
Just
Wow.
like wine
And-
people. Just like
just
wine,
like wine
people.
just like bourbon people. I mean, I
Yes.
think that's the
Just
greatest.
like bourbon people, correct. You
What is
find
that
what
thing
you like
used
and
to
you
do?
collect.
You like a time capsule. I think alcohol is the best time capsule.
Your wine cellar or beer cellar is the best time capsule for your children and their children.
We do it for the kids, as we always
We
say.
do it for the
It's-
kids.
It's for the kids. And recently, I thought Rich was joking, but he was like, "Oh, I'm going to bring this beer," and I'm like, "Well, it's the first time I've ever had a beer. Just kidding." And he's like, "Oh, I just did a review for Bud Light." And I thought you were kidding that you've never had Bud Light before. But
No, that was my first.
how did you escape? I mean, I know you talked a little bit about it, but really, how did you escape Bud Light?
Well, first off, like in college, I was not a big drinker.
But what about high school?
I did not drink at all in high school.
Square.
So, yes, yeah, without a
square.
doubt.
What a square.
So no, I mean I'll take it a step further. Like we'll use that quote, old soul. It was me, my girlfriend, now my wife, and we would just chill out, and it was not we just
Like just
weren't
listening
drinkers.
to crooning
So,
music and have a
The
blanket
Dead
out.
most of the
Oh.
time. So
Mm.
because
So
I was
smoking
a
weed.
big Dead. No, none of
Oh.
that.
Wow.
None of that.
This
we
is so
were
pure and whole.
Thank you.
incredibly straight edge,
Wow.
and that wasn't even a thing. It's just that's the way we were.
And where did you
So-
grow up?
In Belmore. Yep, I went to JFK in Belmore.
Unheard of.
Yep.
Unheard of, because I'm familiar with this area, and I've drank a beer
Mhm.
before I was in college, like
No.
maybe one or two.
In college was when I started, and really I didn't start drinking until we would go to Croxley's Ales, where we would go and hang out. And I was not a beer guy. I would go with ciders, and I liked them because they were sweet and they were easy to drink, and that was the way that it went. So I was a big cider fan, and then I have to admit the reason I got into beer was so I had stuff to talk about with the other dads, because I am not a sports guy.
That's actually brilliant. That's brilliant.
I'm not into sports and I'm not into beer.
You got
But
nothing
you
to
can
talk
talk
I'm
about.
about
gonna
it.
chat with the moms about wine.
Yes.
See, but you can go with wine or you can go with whiskey.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
But,
That's
like,
true.
somebody
Good
talks
for
about-
both the moms and the dads.
I tend to win people over with some humor, but mostly like, yeah, sure, I'll do your show. I'll do your
Killing him
comedy
with kindness,
fundraiser.
Jen.
Killing him with kindness. Who knew?
well, somebody said to me today, "What are you doing next Sunday?" And I was like, "I don't know,"
Drinking.
because I forgot that the Super Bowl exists.
Oh yeah, I was like, what are you
So-
talking about? In my head, I'm like, well, who cares what you're doing next Sunday?
So yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
at all." My daughter is far more into that than I am, and was before the Taylor Swift stuff. Although
Aw.
now Taylor is starting to get me into football a little bit. So I know.
First
I
the,
heard
first the ciders, now Taylor Swift.
I
and
heard he's
there
a
might be
fast player.
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard that as well.
So my husband's really into sports,
Mm.
so it's been very hard for me. But how I get into it is I like make his favorite snacky foods, and I like put them on trays around the chair,
Mhm.
and then I just kind of leave. I'm like,
Ah.
"There's your snacky food. See you later." And he's
So a
like,
snackables tray, and I'm out.
"No, no, I like order and like make the things, and like he likes the guac and like whatever, and the layered bean dip and all that crap. I'm decent. I can't really like cook, even though he did buy me all the KitchenAid cooking stuff
Mm,
and the
It's quality products.
and the ovens and things, and
there's
he was
quality
like.
products.
He was like, I can't wait for you to cook, and I'm like, me either. And I heat it. I heat up pizza in them. It's really good. Anyway, let's get to the second beer because time is just
Well,
flying.
Let's try something totally different
Let's
then.
switch
Let's
and
go
now for
with
something completely different.
let's
Switch
go with
gears.
the fruited sour. So this is called Seventh Birthday Zombie. It's a fruited sour. This
Love
is a
zombies.
world of difference from what you all just had. Sour ale with strawberry, blueberry, raspberries,
Yeah.
passion fruit, vanilla, and milk sugar, which is going to
That
make it
sounds scary.
a little bit sweet. And this is actually by a brewery called KCBC. It's sort of a collective out of Brooklyn.
Here we go.
Did you want me to
So-
wipe down your glass? Or at this point, it doesn't really matter. At this point, with the ABV,
He just wiped it down.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, yeah.
I would happily take that. You see, this
All
sort of looks like one of your cocktails.
Look at that. It
Oh,
looks like a
that's-
cocktail.
I feel like this is gonna be really weedy.
Don't
though.
listen to that, guys.
It's gonna actually remember it is a sour, so it is going to be
All right.
a little tart.
It smells sour and tart. Making faces already. We'll take a quick sip.
I'm just like a real priss when it comes to things like this.
Woo. That was a lot of a lot.
That's a ride.
Mhm.
I think I prefer the first one.
I know I prefer the first one, although for a sour, which is not my favorite style of beer, I thought this one was pretty good. And also, not a tremendous amount of alcohol in this. This is only 7%.
Aftershot of 40% old fashioned. The way to go.
You know what it is? It's like, and maybe it's just me who feels this way. I feel like beer is doing too much. You know, like right now you have like waffle syrup beer and like crazy
Ooh, some of
cinnamon
it's
toast.
good though.
I know, but like, get me a good old like I like amber
Old
beers.
fashioned.
A good old fashioned. I know you did not like the Bud Light. But
No.
the Bud Light is like when you're dieting.
My problem with Bud Light was not that it was bad; it was that it had no flavor.
It was nothing.
Nothing.
But that's
Like,
what it is.
you
They're
can't
porch pounders.
argue-
We've always
that
known that
there
it was
is-
bad. I'm not a beer drinker, and I know that it's bad.
But again, I had never had it. My friend sort of surprised me on camera and said, "Hey, we're going to try this."
Got
Even
it.
brought out
So
like
we
the
did.
red cups. It was
So
so
that's
I had the
annoying.
glasses out, all set to go to see what he was going to give me,
It was so cute.
and it just didn't work. But
Just bring me a Pabst. Shut up.
But I could totally so like the way I drink, and maybe I need to change that about myself, is like kind of quickly. Like I like to get a buzz. These beers are definitely more of like a long journey. Like I feel like if I was to open that up, I'd have to watch like an entire movie.
It's a long journey for 7%.
That's what I'm saying.
well, I mean, in all honesty, I like the strange beers sometimes because you can have a conversation about them.
Just like this.
Exactly.
Just like this.
So-
Just like this.
But I had one the other day that was sort of a chocolate type of stout, but they had put habaneros in it, so it was hot. And I have to tell you the truth, like I don't like my beer hot, like spicy like that.
Spicy.
But
Yeah.
I would buy another one to actually share amongst my friends
To
to
be
see
like,
what
"Hey,
people thought.
what
Like,
do you
hey,
think?"
check this out. So I mean, that's the
the
conversation.
heat.
So-
When does beer stop and food start? Like I feel like this is a lot of beer food.
I think there's a lot of crossover, quite honestly. We had a beer from Equilibrium, is a brewery up in Middletown, New York.
Mhm.
So you go up 17, it's right there. Great little brewery. They make these pastry stouts. And I was drinking one with my friend Kevin on camera, and we both said, you know what, this is almost like a syrup. So paused the camera, ran upstairs. I had Haagen-Dazs in the fridge. We threw a couple of scoops of Haagen-Dazs in some glasses, poured the beer over it, and it was phenomenal as a
Being
syrup.
middle-aged sounds so much fun. He's like, this was like syrup, so we
So-
put ice cream in it,
Yeah.
and it was crazy.
But you know what's funny is I brought a whole group of people over and we were doing a tasting, and I saved that beer for last.
Mhm.
And I said, all right, guys, this is going to be really strange. Threw the ice cream down. Kevin was in the back with that knowing smile, and everybody who tried it was like, oh my God,
This is
that's
great.
incredible.
Huh.
Because the vanilla sort of caused the whole thing to open up even more.
You
So-
used to be able to just spike brownies. Now we're
Now we're putting ice cream in beer. Where
in
does it
beer.
end?
Where
We're getting
does
so,
it end?
Everyone's so creative. Like, where does it end? But I do like this.
I like this
I like
as
this.
far as a sour goes.
Yeah, because it like keeps you on your toes. It's like a nice little refreshing thing. It's nice, but again, it's not a porch pounder.
No. None of these are.
Jinx, owe me a porch pounder.
Well, I
Um,
could just owe you another beer,
No.
but I'm not sure if you're gonna like this one either. So
No, I've always liked darker beers, and I've always liked amber beers. But again, those you can kind of pound. You know, like a Guinness, you can kind of pound down.
yeah, oh no, Guinness you can. It's only
Yeah.
4.2% alcohol.
I was
That's
just
why we're
doing
pounding,
Irish-
pounding
Yeah.
cans.
I was just doing Irish car bombs yesterday. Like sometimes you don't know what to do when you're at a bar, and you're like, well, let's start this party.
Yeah, no, I like Guinness as an easy drinker.
I agree.
Really do. But you know what? That's the whole thing with the mild, the low ABV. So like this beer, which we don't have to open if you guys are sort of like
Save it for yourself.
born out.
Yeah.
So there's a brewery down in Cape May, New Jersey. I love, and they do these really interesting English milds. And this is something that they actually paired up with a coffee place down there that's phenomenal. The
Oh.
coffee guy is like really, really into it, and actually the coffee's place's name is Out There Coffee. Awesome place. If you're ever in Cape May, you should go. And
On
the
my
guy
way.
took up, he did the coffee part of it. They did the beer part of it.
Mhm.
It came together at 3.86 ABV, and it is phenomenal. Like
Wow.
it's just if you like coffee, and if you like a brown, sort of an amber beer with coffee in it, that's fantastic. But no, this one could be something you could drink quickly.
Yeah.
So
And I think that's like a lesson for me to be learned here is that you can actually enjoy something and take your time with it. You know, you don't have to.
Yeah,
as a-
you don't have to pound 3.8% alcohol. That's a trip to the bathroom much quicker than you intended
Yeah,
for
but
no reason.
As a mom with like a young child, sometimes you got to just do it. You crying this and that. You got to fit it in.
Here's
So,
some,
that's
what did
why I
we
love
say this
that.
was? 22.5% coffee. There you go.
No, I can't drink any more coffee tonight. I do have to go to sleep at some point. Once everyone says it's okay for me to do so.
After all the beers are done.
After the beers are done.
After the beers.
But I think it's really interesting that there's so much complexity and variation in beers on Long Island, and
Cans and bottles.
cans, bottles.
Variation.
Who knew you can even
Kegs. Do they have your fine craft beer in kegs, or that's
if
not
you
a thing?
get this so every once in a while, a distributor by me will have this on tap for you to get a growler.
Growler, yes.
A growler of this is about $100.
Okay.
All right.
So, which is, I've only done it once because we were supposed to have people over, and then 3 days later, COVID happened. So,
Oh, boy.
alas, I
I'm
had
gonna
a.
have to drink this growler
Yeah,
by
so-
myself.
Well, luckily, I had a pressurized growler that takes a CO2 cartridge,
Oh,
so that
nice.
lasted for
So you brought your own
quite a
growler.
while. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you didn't
Oh,
use the
I
growler
have
thing.
No,
Wow.
actually, again, my wife purchased this wonderful growler. It takes a CO2
Can you shout her out
cartridge.
because you've mentioned her twice
Oh,
and she
uh,
seems so supportive.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, how you doing?
She seems like the most supportive
Drinking
beer
on
wife.
air.
Yeah.
Aren't you proud of me, honey?
She actually, she is completely supportive of,
Does she join you in this?
She's not a beer person. She's not a drinker really. And
Just a supporter.
quite honestly,
Designated
like
driver.
I am not an everyday drinker by any means. Like like
The
now,
YouTube channel kind of shows
Well,
it in a different light.
2 days a week I shoot the beer videos. I'll have a beer with dinner, but again, it's one of those ones that you're going to drink slowly with a meal.
Right.
So,
No porch
like,
pounders.
I have yet to really come across a beer that I would sit there and be like, yeah, I'm gonna pound this because
this is so good.
well, it's not
Let's
that. It
forget about
sounds
the
like
beer a minute. What does your porch look like?
so I have I do not have a porch. I have a patio.
See,
and
you
again-
can't do it. That's why.
Even when people come over with IPAs, they're never something that you're gonna sit there and just like pound down. It's gonna be like, let's examine the flavor.
Yeah.
Let's talk
I'll
about
be in the
that.
living room on the couch.
IPAs are just for me, like for the most part.
I'm not a fan.
They're like weedy and weird and
Yeah, too bitter on the back end.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I'm trying to open up because there's so many out there. Like, I had just learned about milkshake IPAs that have a lot of fruit to them, and I have not tried them yet, but that's where I'm going to
there
try
are
next.
so many breweries on
Yep.
Long Island that have their crazy banana flavored IPAs and stuff like that. We went to recently Garvey's Point, and that was really cool. There's one out in Selden we went to also recently that had some really great beers. I wish I remember the name to it, but one day.
Blue Point is great, and they have a great place.
Yes.
But Sand City, as far as the Long Island brewery goes, if you want to come across,
Where is that?
Sand City is in Northport
Okay.
and in Lindenhurst. There's Sand City North, Sand City South, but they do a blueberry ale over the summer that like theirs as close to a pounding drink. It's really nice. It's
Like how we
really
haven't,
refreshing.
I like how we've
Pounding
gone,
drink.
gone this way. It's like, Jen, we know you're only interested in getting completely hammered.
So-
So,
But it's hard to get during the summer because everybody loves it. So like you could never buy a keg of this because it goes out to the restaurants from what I'm told.
Huh.
And that's it. So you
Time
buy it
to
in
open
4
a
packs.
restaurant just
So
to get some kegs.
open a restaurant, Adam. I've been telling you this forever.
go for it.
I've been telling you this for the last 2 weeks.
It's fun enough at everyone's favorite liquor store. and wine shop, which is sipsay.com. Best of LI 3 years in a row.
3 years in a row. And they sponsor me, so I mean, obviously they've got some moxie.
They know what's going on. They know what's up.
Going on. They know what's up. So I find it really funny, and I talked to you about it probably a dozen times, that if you watch Rich, and I really check out his channel, he starts with his glasses on, and then as he gets more serious, he's just like, and it is the funniest, cutest thing, because you can tell he's just getting down to business. Like, fuck these glasses, let's taste this shit.
Sometimes they say you can hear better with your glasses
Well, it's
on,
because
so maybe he can taste better when the glasses are off.
I like to
He's
think
losing
that.
one sense
Exactly.
and gaining the extra
That's
powers
exactly what
from.
it is.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's
Once
exactly
I
it.
take these off, I can truly taste the beer. So.
Can't see shit.
He
but
can't see us. That's a good thing.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, this beer is so good. He can't tell. I'm drinking his sour right now.
Yeah.
Nobody has any idea.
Yeah, but I've been a pretty. I thought I was a big beer person until I ran into all of your reviews, and now I just feel like uneducated and terrible. But I highly suggest again you go and check them out. The end of the day or the.
It's end of the day beer review. Just end of the day beer review. It's what I'm drinking literally at the end of the day. So.
And there's a new one every week.
I do new videos on Tuesday and on Friday. They normally drop midnight, and then they stay up for a couple of days, and then I just let them stay.
But you've been
out there
holding
in the
back
ether.
lately, haven't you?
The only time that I've held back a video is when I didn't get to make the video, because this is not my profession. This is my sort of like hobby and enjoyment. So sometimes life gets in the way.
So, do you find, you had said the reason why you got into this was so you could speak with other fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that this brought you together, or has it kind of ostracized you?
Well, no, actually, I've had some really good conversations about beer and whiskey, because I started with the Bourbon County, then I actually went into bourbon, got a little into that. And it's a nice way to be able to get into a conversation with people instead of like, hey, did you see that Giant game? No, I did not.
I love the conversation.
so-
Hi, I know more about alcohol than you do. Let's talk.
Well,
See, but
yeah.
that's but like when you sit there and you have a dozen guys,
Yeah.
and they're and inevitably it seems like these groups self-segregate by gender, and I have more to have a conversation with most of the ladies than I do with the guys who are going to talk sports. So like the beer is actually a nice segue into, especially if somebody's drinking something interesting, you can always talk about it.
That's very true. But I mean, are people like, oh, there's the beer guy?
No, because just about everybody
Beer
you
guys
encounter
here again.
has some level of that now. Like especially with the IPAs drive people to distraction as far as like the conversation they will have. And they take it personally when you say like
I don't really like IPAs.
yeah.
They're like, oh, well, who are you? It's like,
So-
nobody. I'm a big nobody. Don't
so,
know.
Not
No,
the
I-
beer guy.
Well,
Not the beer
Adam, what do
guy.
you always say about people? It's because they don't know any better.
Oh, that there's no such thing as stupid questions, just stupid people?
No. When I first met Adam,
That's a good line.
yeah, when I first met Adam, I came in and I was like, oh, do you have Jack Daniels? Do you have this? And he does, but he's like, you just don't know any better. So then he opened.
That line.
Yeah.
Got it.
So if you go into his store is a curated experience. It's things he actually likes to drink.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go in, I like to give a vibe. I'm like, well, I'm feeling like this today, and like it's winter, so like hook it up.
I need something to warm me up,
Yeah.
and thankfully we do a lot of free tasting,
Yes.
free taste testing on our spirits, and that way you can try before you buy and find that perfect beverage that's going to help warm you up, whether it's a nice bourbon or a nice whiskey aged in a beer barrel.
And I'm R&D, so
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How is it for getting allocated bourbons for you?
It is a lottery. I play the game a little bit.
Is that how it works? There's actually a lottery behind the scene
To
for
be
that?
honest, I think it's a monkey pulling things out of a hat. I'll be perfectly honest, because nobody has that answer.
Okay.
But we do a good job. I deal with the right people. I play around with the right product lines to what I think I like and what my people will want
and
to
you
like.
have a lot of rares recently.
We do. We focus on a lot of fun whiskey. So
yeah, you let me
come
drink
have
that.
a.
What was it? That tea stag that was
We
like
drank George
$1,200?
T. Stag
Oof.
together.
Wow.
Correct. It
Yeah,
was
it was so good.
probably one of the best whiskeys that I've ever drank.
I did not know it was an expensive whiskey, and I drank it, and I said, "Where is this? I want to buy it." And he just starts laughing. He's like, "It's $1,200. You're not going to buy it." I'm like, "I am not going to buy it." But
So it's
I thought
all
about it.
about having fun and finding the right thing for adventurous drinkers, just as the craft beer market has brought to the craft wine, craft cocktails. We're drinking better. We're drinking less additives, and we're feeling better about ourselves, enjoying our hobbies.
I agree.
Rich?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well,
Thank you guys for
guys
having me.
so much. And again, you can find Rich on YouTube at
And the day beer review.
Excellent. You can find me coming up. I'm doing 2 shows, one in
Long Beach.
February. One in Long Beach. Oh, you're going to be at that show.
I'm going to be at that show.
Sweet.
Drinking.
So you can find us there. And it has been absolutely wonderful having Rich on with us. And please follow his YouTube. Let us know what you think. And thank you guys so much. Have a great night.
Cheers.
Cheers.